Thanks so much for tuning in to Tango Stories today here on USALA Radio, and happy Hanukah to everyone who celebrates. Today on Tango Stories, we are celebrating Hanukah with a special show on Yiddish Tango, and joining us via WhatsApp from Israel is a world-famous singer of Yiddish music, including Yiddish tangos, Olga Avigail. Thanks so much for being here, Olga.
Hello, everybody.
So Olga is a singer, an accordion player, and a researcher of Eastern European musical folklore. She was born in Warsaw, and she divides her time between Warsaw and Jerusalem. She's performed worldwide, including in Lincoln Center in New York City, and in Jewish music festivals in Warsaw, Vancouver, Berkeley, California, Jerusalem, and many, many more places. So we're just really grateful that you took the time to call in to us today, Olga. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I understand that you didn't grow up with Yiddish music as a part of your family life. Is that right?
No, I didn't hear any Yiddish music till maybe I was 27, and I found myself in the special course organized by Yiddish Theater of the Yiddish songs.
Uh-huh.
And I really fall in love with Yiddish music first of all, and then slowly with the language.
Wow.
And I understood the importance of keeping this heritage alive.
Uh-huh. So it was a pretty immediate sensation when you first heard the music. You felt a surprising connection to it.
I think that it's quite natural because the Yiddish culture is also part of Polish culture. Poland before the war, it was we can call it Yiddish land.
Yes.
So it's. I think that there is something that you can feel very easily connected to. But the language, it was not easy for me from the beginning. And it's not easy to sing in Yiddish because the pronunciation, and if you don't speak the language, and then I had to get into this word more deeply to really understand the meaning of the words and to be able to pass the message and all the stories behind the song.
So you really had to enter into that world and that culture in order to perform the music.
Yeah.
And so you discovered you had this passion for the music, and then how did that play out? How did you pursue it, and where did it take you?
I started with folk songs, with Yiddish folk songs, and I met during my when I was in Krakow in the Jewish festival. I've met Professor Barbara Gimblet and Eli Shapiro, the director of Jewish Music Festival in Berkeley. And Professor Kishelbat, she introduced me to the works of a very special Yiddish folk singer from the borderland of Poland, Maria Nierenberg. And she encouraged me to look for less known Yiddish music, forgotten Yiddish music, and old ballads, and bring it back to life and rearrange it, revive it.
And how do you do that? How do you go looking for this music? How did you do it? How did you search for it? How did you find it?
No, I ordered there are records, and there's research that I was based on, which was made by Professor Barbara Gimblet. She made it. It took her many years to collect those songs and to prepare a paper with lyrics, and so I didn't make any special research on my own.
Okay.
But what I did, it was I like working with the songs, trying to find the arrangements and to find the right musicians and the balance between the traditional style and the modern style.
Really nice. And then at this point you were still living in Poland, or at what point did you move to Israel?
In this point, I was living in Poland, but I spent a lot of time in Israel and in Jerusalem, and I was singing in the forest and like trying to find the right tune in Jerusalem forest. But also then I was also singing it in the fields near the border with the Belarus, which is the place that this singer was coming from.
Wow!
So I was sharing my time. I'm based actually in Jerusalem, maybe 6 years already.
Wow! And so, what is the Yiddish music scene like in Jerusalem or in general in Israel?
It's kind of underground, you can say, because the people are saying about a little renaissance of Yiddish in Israel, but I think that it's a little bit too much to say.
A little exaggerated.
If you compare it, it's a little bit exaggeration, because there is still very strong refuse of Yiddish. Because it's coming from the beginning of the country where Hebrew was the instrument of building the new Israeli identity, and Yiddish was left behind.
Yes, it was the old world that everyone had left to build this new country, this new society together, new culture that was for which Hebrew was the language.
Yeah, exactly, and it's very strongly associated with loss and destruction.
Yes,
and it's becoming exclusively used by ultra-Orthodox communities. And so then it's also kind of, for some of other groups of people, there's also create some kind of barrier and not so good association. But there are some places in Israel, for example, there is an amazing place, Young Yiddish, with Mendy Kahan, that he was for already 20 years. He's collecting Yiddish books that people want to release and to throw it away.
Oh wow!
And there is a stage that it's open to any kind of Yiddish expression and music and film, and so Yiddish celebrations also of the holidays. So you can also in Hanukah you can also enjoy some Yiddish evening in this place in Tel Aviv.
So you've performed there, I imagine.
Yeah. I'm for many years I'm cooperating with Young Yiddish.
Yes.
But it's very cameral. It's very little concerts for people that they are initiated kind of, and they know how to get there, and it's not so easy. Also,
you're still trying to figure out how to attract a wider public to be excited about this music.
The only concert that I really attracted like a little bit more people, it was when I brought my Polish musicians and we made a show of Yiddish Tango.
Wow.
So tango, I think the tango really attracted. This combination of Yiddish and tango it's very attractive even in Israel.
Very interesting. I really want to talk about that, but let's take our first break and listen to one of your recordings, and then we'll talk about Yiddish Tango. So you had chosen the tango. It's an old Yiddish tango, and the Yiddish version was composed by Kasriel Broidel. Is that right?
Yeah, Yossel Sored Voshe. It was composed by the only woman composer between the interwar Polish-Jewish composers, Fajga Joffe, known as Fanny Gordon.
Okay.
And it's very, very nice dialogue between two lovers, Josu and Sorę Dwosze.
Wonderful. So we're going to listen to that now. Thanks so much. Oh, can you say the name again? Because I can't say it. The tango is called
Josu Sorę Dwosze.
Wonderful. Here we go.
Sorę Dwosze, że sitzt du da in Gas und guckst du in Börle wohnen. Entschuldig, hab vergessen, bist noch als auf mir im Kass, mein liebliche Madonna. Sag mir, was dich liebe ist, noch an ander Bräuge sein, und ich ein Schule machen. Любовь моя, я люблю тебя, mein Sorę Dwosze, powiesz мне. Singst du mir eine Serenade und lass nicht sitzen, das schöne Mädel in Glas. Du kaufst mir besser eine große Blüte Schokolade, während wir spazieren und ich will mehr nicht sein im Glas. Schokolade, nein, ich geht nur so allein. Es kostet nicht mehr wie ein Zlote. Oh, mir besser in jüdischen Theater gehen. Dort kostet mir nicht kein Gute. Aber was sitzt beim Terrorist, mein Vater bloß da rein. Ist ein Gute. Любовь моя, я люблю тебя. Mein Sorę Dwosze, powiesz мне. Nicht geschah.
So again, that was the Yiddish tango Sorę Dwosze of Fanny Gordon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I love how you put together a band. I understand that they're Polish musicians, but the instruments are piano, bandoneon, and guitar, and it creates a real Argentine tango feel, especially the use of the bandoneon instrument. So it's, I don't know, it connects Yiddish music with the way, you know, a tango trio would actually play today in a tango environment. And I really love that.
Yeah, those musicians are like leading tango musicians in Poland, and they are the members of the band Tango Attack, which played Argentinian classical tangos and also Polish tangos. So I'm very honored that we are working together and they agreed to join me to this project.
That's wonderful. So together with them, you're doing a lot of different performances in different venues?
Yes. Yeah, we are performing mostly in Poland, but we've been also we are performing in Israel in very prestigious Center for Music Eden Tamir in Jerusalem, and we recorded there our disc, which is live performance. And last summer we've been in one of the biggest festival of Jewish culture in the world, Ashkenaz Festival in Toronto, in Canada.
Wow, that's amazing.
And, really enjoyed playing there the tangos, and we had we were sold out.
Awesome, that's so cool.
And
are you seeing?
We found there a lot of interest in this combination also.
Yes. Are you seeing that tango social dance communities are discovering what you're doing, coming out to your shows? Do you have people dance socially ever during the shows, or do you bring performers to give a tango performance?
During our performance in Warsaw in the Zinger Festival of Jewish Music, which is very big, one of the biggest Jewish festival in Poland, I discovered that it's much nicer when there are people who are not maybe professional dancers. Some of them are professional, some of them are just looking for the possibility to dance tango, and they created like spontaneous milonga. And what I'm trying to do when I'm going to different places, I'm trying to connect to dancing community and inviting them to join us for a live milonga. And it's happened already in a few places that we succeed creating such events with people dancing, and even with once I remember when we've been in the south of Poland in the summer, then we stopped the concerts and everybody went home, and just the dancers stayed and they were continuing dancing on the streets with the music from the bar. So
that's
it was
wonderful.
Very touching.
Do you have plans to come to? I mean, we have listeners around the world, so wherever you are listening, you can check out Olga Avigail's website, right, and see your upcoming performance dates, and maybe even contact you about creating a milonga attached to the performance. Is that right?
Yeah.
So it's a good time to mention your website. Is it olgaavigail.com?
No.
No.
This will be much more difficult because it's I'm using my family name.
Okay.
olgamieleszczuk.com.pl.
Do you want to spell that for our listeners?
It's probably.
You know what? I'll put a link on our Tango Stories page on the PhiladelphiaTangoSchool.com website, so. And then people can find you there.
And also, I have a website, and I have this YouTube channel, which is I think even more interesting for somebody that wants
to be able to listen to the music, of course. But I want I want tango dancers to find your upcoming gigs and go create milongas there. That was my was my specific interest. But we'll put a link on the Tango Stories webpage so people could contact you and see what you have coming up. Do you have any plans to come to North America again? You said you were just in Toronto.
I really hope. It was a plan to come in actually next year already for a little tour, but I'm not sure if it will work out. I really hope.
Well, we would love to have you here in Philadelphia. for sure. Did you ever start studying a little bit of tango, of tango dancing? Did you reach out in that direction, or?
I tried, but I was very unsuccessful. I decided that I really.
It just takes a lot of time, and I'm sure with all the things you're doing. Yeah, with all the things you're doing, it's probably really tough to put all that time in.
It will be great to be able to dance a little bit during the show. It's sometimes if there is no dancers, it's like the tango without dance. There is really something missing.
Yes.
Here and but I think that I will leave it for the
next lifetime, or at least next decade. Let's take another break and listen to another tango that you sent. Could you say something about Ostatnia? I can't say the rest of it.
Ostatnia niedziela. The last Sunday, or Mexican Shabbat. It's one of the most well-known, popular tango in Poland till today. It was written in 30s by a famous composer, Jerzy Petersburski. He had, of course, Jewish origin, and I sing it in two languages, in Polish and in Yiddish. Yiddish version is a little bit different, and it's showing the nuances of the cultures because it's talking about the last Sunday, but about the last Shabbat.
Okay, so not Sunday.
Yeah.
About the Jewish Shabbat instead of.
So the translation of the song, it has this Jewish twist, and it was. The refrain was kept in memory of the Holocaust survivor, but he didn't remember the whole song, how it was sung in Poland in Yiddish. So my very good friend and great Yiddish performer and researcher, Alexander Fish, he wrote the new lyrics for this tango in Yiddish.
Wow. And in this recording you combine the two languages?
Yes. You
combine Polish and Yiddish. Wonderful. So and so this is Olga Avigail on vocals, and can you tell us who your instrumentalists behind you are?
Hadrian Tabensky on piano, Grzegorz Bożewicz bandoneon, and Piotr Malicki guitar.
Wonderful. We're going to listen to Ostatnia niedziela. I can't say it. Will you say it for me again?
Ostatnia niedziela, Lestiken Shabbos.
Wonderful. I'm going to practice before our next interview. Here we go.
Teraz nie pora szukać wymówek. Fakt, że skończyło się. Dziś przyszedł drugi, bogatszy i lepszy ode mnie. I wraz z tobą skradł szczęście me. Jedną mam prośbę, może ostatnią, pierwszą od wielu lat. Daj mi tę jedną niedzielę, ostatnią niedzielę, a potem niech wali się świat. Iets starszeń spijt, zoeken naar terrein, iets is schoon als voorbij. De komen is toe het spijter, ik zei, moet geter, waaruit God mich sei wie sei. Bloß aber kosche, wie der Lage, einer ist nicht zu viel. Gib mir, że bloß noch ein Schabbat, den letzten Schabbat, der noch soll sein gehen, wie will. To ostatnia niedziela, dzisiaj się rozstaniemy, dzisiaj się rozejdziemy. co ze mną będzie, któż to wie? To ostatnia niedziela, moje sny wymarzone, szczęście tak upragnione skończyło się. Schabes der Letzte, der sich nicht zerscheiden, soll es sein für uns beiden, das letzte Mal. Nur der Weich obrachones, schenke mir noch ein Schabes, nur dem letztigen Schabes.
If you're just joining us, we're here on Tango Stories on USALA Radio, and we're talking about Yiddish tangos today in honor of the Hanukah holiday. And we have Olga Avigail, who's an amazing vocalist and leader of a Yiddish tango band, who's talking with us. So thank you again for being here, Olga. We've been listening to Yiddish tangos that probably were performed in nightclubs and cabarets, especially between the two wars. Is that true?
Yes.
But it's quite interesting that tango was used as a medium not only for in this party environment of cabarets and nightclubs, but even to communicate some of the most very personal and painful messages. Can you tell me a little bit about the lullaby from the Łódź ghetto?
Yeah, it's one of the most special tango ever written. It's also tango lullaby, which almost never appeared, and also because of the circumstances that was written. It was written in ghetto in Łódź by Shaya Spiegel. And the writer and songwriter, after death of his little daughter, and that she died from starvation, and it was forbidden to perform because it was expressing the sorrow of and cruel circumstances of life in the ghetto. But people were gathering illegally in private houses, and one of such performance is described by one of the survivors from ghetto, which Lucille Eichengreen, and she wrote that they came to the private house and they were sitting on the floor, and Shaya Spiegel was also between the people, and vocalist with like very high soprano and very quiet and strong, but also strong. She started to sing this tango lullaby, and the applause was profound but very quiet, but penetrating applause.
Wow.
And it was originally written in Yiddish, and when I'm performing it usually in Yiddish, but also I'm singing it in a Polish translation of Piotr Stratus, who is American-based Polish Jewish songwriter and translator of tangos.
Huh.
So yeah. So this record that you have, it's in Polish.
So the recording we're going to hear is in Polish.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break and listen to the lullaby from the Łódź Ghetto.
Zamknij oczka swe, przylecą ptaszki twe, otoczą wkoło już kołyskę twoją tuż. To gołek w dłoni ma, dom dziś we zgliszczach sam. Córeczko, idę stąd w świata kąt. Bóg zamknął jasny świat, noc czarna wkoło nas. Chronimy siebie, strach kroki nasze wiedzie. Stoimy razem tu w godzinę złego snu. Nie wiemy, dokąd iść i gdzie nasz dom. Wygnali nago nas na pola czarny pas. W ciemności nocy, wśród sztormu mocy. Wygnali z domu tak, córeczko, tylko wiatr nad przepaść wiedzie już na świata dno.
So again, that was a very personal message from a father who had already lost his beloved child in the Łódź Ghetto, and wrote the message in the form of a tango lullaby, which is the lullaby from the Łódź Ghetto. Olga, I think it's amazing how deeply you've delved into the music and how you open a window through your performances and recordings into a culture that was nearly lost. It's really amazing.
I'm trying to do my best.
And also how you're pursuing Yiddish folk music, but also this really interesting genre of Yiddish Tango, which, like you've said, has the capacity to draw a lot of different audiences, from an Argentine tango audience, that people who already go out social dancing as tango dancers, to people who are interested in Yiddish music, to Jews like me who want to know more about the past that our families lived in Eastern Europe. I think it's a really fertile ground for bringing people together. So it seems really important to me. I think that we have time for one more Yiddish tango, and we were maybe going to listen to Rivka La Rebecca. Is that right?
Yeah. It's like Polish Rebecca and Yiddish Rivkele.
The same name.
Tango,
the same name in two languages.
in Polish version, original version was written in Polish, and it's the song that uses Hasidic motifs, and was perhaps the most beloved and often recorded song in the interwar period.
Wow.
Composed by Zygmunt Białostocki, a Polish Jewish composer. And it's a story of a young Jewish woman from the shtetl, Rebecca, who owns a tobacco shop, and she's falling with love badly with a man, Polish noble from the big city. And she imagines marrying him, but he goes away, when he came back, he obviously has a Polish fiancé, and Rebecca said to him that she will always love him, but she can only dream about living together happily ever after. And the Yiddish version of this song, Rivkele, which record didn't survive, and it was probably recorded by a famous singer Tadeusz Waliszewski, but we are not sure because, like I said, we don't have this record, and it shows different perspective. Rivkele is not anymore rejected poor Jewish girl, but modest girl who decided not to marry the Polish nobleman and keep loyal to her family and religion.
Wow!
And this song is still very popular, and it's known by every Pole, and it's very often sung, of course, in Polish in different festivals. And I created the Yiddish version of the song, and because the Yiddish text is available in special places like Zielone collection, and we recorded it with Tango Attack band in Jerusalem.
Wow. I think you told me that before the Second World War, this song was so popular in nightclubs that they would be playing it and it would get requested a second time while they were already playing it once.
Yeah, and it's not only, and it's interesting that this song has something so strong, like it's the combination of tango and Hasidic music. It's like the mixture that you probably will not find anywhere, just in Poland.
Wow. And
just in Polish tango, and I think that it still works because it's the most. If I have almost quarter million views of this song, which is really a lot for Yiddish.
Wow. Wow. It kind of transcends space and time.
Yeah.
The interest in the song, multiple languages, multiple cultures, really, really interesting. So yes, let's listen to Rivka La
And
Rebecca.
I hope that it's also nice for dancing.
Yes, I promise
so
that.
You can judge it better than me.
Okay. I promise that my dance partner and I will perform it at some point, and we'll send you a video.
Okay.
Or maybe you'll come and play it for us live. That would be even better. We'll talk about that later. But for now, let's listen to Rivka La Rebecca, and then we'll close up the interview. Rivka La Rebecca.
Zum ersten Mal hat ihr gesehen und ihr gebeten allein, wenn hat häufen das Gewalt. Und seit schon da pflegt nicht noch beten, oft nur wer gebeten, sei mein Schied gehabt mit Gott. Bin der Vorjutz in ganzen Städten, leg dein Kapson ich Kleider wart, aber ich mach ich dir, ich will gar von dir, gar a kleinem Naden, sollst du sich vor mir aufschmaden, in meine
So again, that was Rivka La Rebecca, performed by Olga Avigail, vocalist, who's been so kind to join us on our show today. Thank you so very much, Olga.
Thank you for the invitation.
And I definitely want our listeners to be able to learn more about you. So I'm going to send them to your website first. So write these letters down very carefully because the Polish surname is, well, challenging for us English speakers to spell. If you want to learn more about Olga, you can find her at olgamieleszczuk.com.pl. And on her website, well, they can, you have 2 albums for sale, right?
Yeah.
You have Jewish folk songs from the shtetl, and you also have a whole album of Yiddish Tango, which you recorded with the Tango Attack band.
Yes.
And then also, if they want to learn about your upcoming performance dates, they can follow you on Facebook. Is that right?
Yeah.
And that's the same name, Olga Mielszuk. They can follow you there
Olga
on Facebook.
Mielszuk.
Okay.
The only one thing that Olga.Mieleszczuk. This is the website.
Okay. Okay, great. Wonderful. Is there anything else you want to tell us?
I want to say Happy Hanukah to everybody.
Happy Hanukah to everybody. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be on Tango Stories, and I can't wait to meet you in person, wherever that is, in Israel or North America or Europe or wherever.
I will be very happy.
All right. Have a wonderful holiday, and thank you again.
Thank you very much. Bye.
From listening to live broadcasts, history, education, and other matters, Keep On Keepin' On is your one stop for all things jazz. I am your host, Marcel Bellinger. Let's hit.
USALA Radio, tu voz, tu radio.
To close out today's show, we're going to listen to 2 more recordings of Olga Avigail, accompanied by the tango band Tango Attack. The first is really cool. It's a translation of the milonga candombe Pena Mulata. So we'll hear that first, and then we're going to hear an old Polish tango sung in Yiddish. 2 more recordings of Olga Avigail with Tango Attack.
Morze w milongi porze, kwietniowe noce, deszczowy dzień. A w starym lustrze odblaski smutne błyska siostrze tancerzators. W czerwonym kwiecie krwawej po świecie koszuli znaczy karminu ślad. A matkę przebił nożem z miłości jeden złodziej. W dzielnicy czarnej biły bębny rytmu. Twój ojciec zemstę przysiągł, sztylet przeszył go znikąd. Mulato Bóg ciebie stworzył, pod niebem swawilnym łzą. Wariata szata, światło oplata, twarze szalone, tancerza wzrok. Wódka w bufecie tańca, podniecie rewanżu, skrycie pragnie i chce. Czarna mulata, biedna bruneta, spokoju maska, szkarłatny kwiat. Taniec wiuje, zemsta całuje, krwawo maluje, karmi go ślad. A matkę przebił nożem z miłości złodziej. W dzielnicy czarnej miły bębny rytmu. Twój ojciec zemstę przysiągł, sztylet przeszył go znikąd. Mulato Bóg ciebie stworzył, pod niebem swawilnym łzą. Przebił nożem z miłości jeden złodziej. W dzielnicy czarnej biły będą bębny rytmu. Twój ojciec zemstę przysiągł, sztylet przeszył go znikąd. Mulato Bóg ciebie stworzył, pod niebem swawilnym łzą. Efter wird dir sein besser und dein Lebensvergrößer. Efter ja privat allein. Ich hab Zeit, ich will warten. Als Väter wird mich verweiten. Quell dann Stein bloß viel weiten. Wie lang dauert dein jedes Glied? Ich hab Zeit, ich will warten. Suchen will ich dir nur eins, als mehr viel mehr wird lieben keine. Dich verstehen kann ich noch eine, ihn vergeht nur die. Ich bin ruhig, was käme, besser ist was nicht gefühle. Aber jetzt gegen den Kiss geht. Ich hab Zeit, ich will warten.
Thanks for tuning into Tango Stories today. I'm your host, Meredith Klein. See you next week here on USALA Radio.